Now let's go to the next command that we want to learn is the zip and the unzip command. So zip and unzip is fairly common, especially for even Windows users. This is a way to zip a file or a folder, and unzip is to unzip a file or a folder from an archive. So let's clean up our screen and then ls-l. So we have this bunch of files and folders in the current location, and let's say we want to zip them into a zip file. So the format is simple. You do a zip, and then you have to specify the zip file name, and then you have to specify which files you want to zip in. So if you you can type in all the file names one by one, and if it's a directory, you have to give an r command, r option along with this command. So let's try it. So we have zip, and say I want to zip in command.txt. Oh, so first you have to specify the name of the zip file. So you say my zip dot zip. So it's a good practice to always end with an extension that will help you know or remember what kind of file it is. So I have specified the name of the zip file that I want to create, and then in the zip file, we want to zip in these files. Say, for example, we want to zip in the command.txt, file4.txt, and then file4.txt. Once you do that, so it will showing that it has added this file into the archive. The deflation means this is the compression ratio, how much it can compress, and then file 4, it has compressed 9%. So now if you do an ls-l command, so you see there's a new file called zip. It shows up as in the red text, and it has a file size of 934 bytes. If you want to zip into a directory, or zip a directory along with the file, so what I mentioned before is that you just specify the directory along with the r option. So we'll do the same thing again, and then this time I will also like to put in the nuggets directory and then use a r option. And what it says that it is adding the nugget directory and the sub files and sub directories along with that. So all of them got added into my archive, and now my zip archive should be large. So see, this is a bigger archive. So because I already had this myzip file, what it did was it added the new files. So it shows adding, and it updated the existing files. If there was any changes, then it would have added or updated that. So it looked through both the existing files and added the new files as well. Now let's look at the unzip command. It is just the reverse of zip, and it has some options. Like for example, the L option. L option is basically it will not unzip, but it will allow you to navigate and see what is the contents of that zip file. The format or the syntax is you do unzip and then type in the file name, the zip file name, and then you can either decide on a directory or a path where you want to uh, uh, unzip that file. So for example, here I want to unzip this file. So let me look into what is there. Unzip, and then my file.zip, and then if you use a -l option, what it will do is you have to use the option before. So what it did was it is just listing the contents of this archive file, myzip. It tells the length, and what was the date and time when it was last modified, and the name of the file, and it gives an idea about the hierarchy and what are the directories, what are the subdirectories. It has not unzipped it yet. So what I will do is I will create what I want to do is unzip this file into a new directory, and that is what this -d option is for. So in Windows, what you do is you do extract as, and then you specify the name of the directory in which you want to extract. This is very similar to that. So what I will do is I will unzip, and I have to remove this L option. Okay, and then my zip.zip, and then I will do a directory, and I will specify a path. So say in this case, I want to unzip it to a my unzip directory. If you do that, what it will do is it will unzip this my zip file, whatever is there inside, which is these files, into another directory which is called my unzip. And you see it is saying inflating here, it was saying deflating, and now those are all unzipped into this my unzip a directory or folder. So let me do an ls-l. You see there is a new directory called my unzip. You can go inside the my unzip and then list out, and it should be exactly what was there in your zip file. Now, again, for even for zipping, you can use wildcard. Say, for example, I want to zip in all the files, text files in this folder. So let me list out, make sure that I have the text files. So I have this 5 text files and I want to zip them together. So what I will do is zip and then describe the file name. So say this zip dot or text files dot zip. And then I will do is I'll use a wildcard to specify all the text files that I want to zip. So what it did was it deflated, which means it is archiving all the files which end with .txt. And to check that, what I can do is I can do unzip -l and then text file.zip. So -l option, it will list out the contents of that archive, and you can see all the text files are here. So that was how zip and unzip work. Now let's look at some network commands. So we'll look into ping, curl, and then wget. So what is ping? Ping is basically, it is an echo request that you send to network hosts. And the common use of ping is to check whether a server or a host is online or receiving network request or not. So the format is you ping to an IP address or a server or a host or a URL. So an easy way to do is that ping, and right now I'm using, let's ping to my websites, which is https, or just say shift.com. Once you ping, so it will ping at a regular interval, and let's make it full screen. So what you see is that it is pinging to this IP address, and it is receiving 64 bytes on that ping, which means this server is online. So that is how the ping works. You can always also ping to an IP address, say for example 192.168.1.8. You see this server is not online, so that's why you're not able to ping. And so what it means is that you cannot connect to this server. So just as a connection check, you can use the ping command. Okay. Next command we'll look at is curl. Curl basically transfer a URL or to get the contents of a URL. So it's very simple. You use the curl with the URL that you want to open. So in this case, let me go to my website, which is shoot.com, and you see I get this nice content, which is a Unix server. And what we want to see is we want to fetch this URL or the contents of this URL using a curl command. Curl, and just right click. So this is the URL you want to fetch, and you just press enter, and it takes a little bit of time, and you see it has fetched the URL document, which is the HTML document. This is the contents of that URL, and you can match it. Say if you go back to your browser and then inspect or view source, so this is the source of this URL or the HTML that is hosted in this URL, and you can see the body tag and the welcome NGINX server, which is very similar to what we have here. And because this is not a graphic user interface, it fetches the contents of the URL, which is an HTML code. So this is very useful if you want to look through or fetch a URL and understand the contents in a more coded format.